The Bible is filled with powerful phrases that speak to the human experience, and one of the most emotional, family, is how long. This phrase appears in moments of despair, patience, hope, and showing how long throughout history and even today people have cried out to God in times of struggle. There's an order from Genesis to Revelation. If you start with Psalms, where how long appears the most, and move to the prophets like Habakkuk 1 2, how long, Lord, must I call for help? End with Revelation 6:10, where the martyrs ask God for justice. In King James family, it's mentioned 54 times. You know what I'm saying? 54 times. The phrase how long appears over 50 times in other Bible verses, just depending on the translation. But I always say stick with the KJV. But look up the verses about waiting on God in Isaiah 40:31, God's timing in Ecclesiastes 3:1, the crying out in distress, Jeremiah and Lamentations. How long teaches us. The Bible repeated the use of how long shows basically that it's normal, family, for us to feel impatient or sometimes frustrated with God. That God does hear our cries and our prayers, even when it may not seem like it's being answered right then. It may feel delayed. You know what I mean? It may not feel like it's coming like right then. And you don't understand that. But trusting in God's time brings peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding, family. So next time you feel like asking how long, Lord, remember you're not alone in that. You're not alone in that struggle at all. And even the greatest, if you think about it, even the greatest Bible heroes struggled with waiting, but they kept their faith, didn't they? Expressing pain or frustration, like David. Think about David in Psalms, family. He really went through it. But I mean, how long versus time in the Bible? Like I said, it's 50 times, but the word time appears over 600 times in the KJV. So this shows how important time, patience, and divine timing are in Scripture. So how long only appears about 50 times, and the other times, when he's talking about time itself and being patient and his timing, over 600 times. So the phrase teaches us that it's okay to question God in hard times, but it also reminds us to trust in his plan, family. Seeking God's justice, I always think about the martyrs in Revelation. Will that be us? Will that be one of us that's seeking that? Will we be crying out for his justice? And trust me, it will happen. It's all written. But we have to be patient. We see a pattern, family, of human struggle and divine faithfulness. Let that give us hope and faith in our Father, in our God, trusting in his divine timing and not our own timing. Because anytime I've ever tried to do things my way, bro, I've always suffered. But trusting in his divine timing, everything will come to pass, just as it is written, family. I want to give you one example. It's actually in the book of Proverbs. How long? Wisdom crieth out, she uttered her voice in the streets. She crieth in chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight their scorning, as fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof, behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you, because I have called, and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught at all my counsel, and were none at my reproof. I will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you. I'm going to stop right there. The Lord said he's going to laugh. Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For they that hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, because families, I'm going to stop right there because that's what it's about, fearing the Lord, the great I am. They would have none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Verse 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. From the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. And lastly, I'm going to stop at verse 33. But whosoever hearken unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from the fear of evil. Family, we have to understand that we may actually have to die. I guess I'll finish it off with 2 Timothy 2:22. I always think of that, like fleeing from our youthful lust and following righteousness, faith, charity, peace, and with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart. Because that's what he's looking at, family, when it ultimately comes down to it, is our hearts. But, is your faith going to fail you if you have to face death? And so I'll talk about that in the next video, family. We'll talk about Christian, being a Christian martyr. What does the Bible say? What does the dictionary define as a martyr? And what does the Bible say about a person who is killed for their beliefs? We'll talk about that in the next study, family. I love you guys. Keep your heads up. Stay prayed up. Stay in the Word. Keep your trust in His timing. Okay? He's in control, not us, family. You guys sometimes put it in His hands because it belongs in His hands, and let Him work it out. And if it's something that's really, really intense, vengeance be His. The Lord will have the last say, family, always. You just got to believe in that. Stay upon the narrow road.